Transform your life, 7 miraculous days to divine healing and prophetic deliverance. The word seemed to resonate through the air as Mary opened her heart to the heavens. In the quaint village of Willowbrook, where the church bells sang praises and sunny days played host to quaint gatherings, hope felt like a distant star, flickering just out of reach. Her son, Thomas, lay motionless, his vibrant laughter absent from their home, leaving a silence so profound it echoed with every breath she took. On her knees, she prayed. Her tears fell like rain upon the soil of her faith, pooling at her feet, begging for a miracle. Yet, despair loomed like dark clouds above her head, overshadowing her once unshakable belief. In that somber moment, a spark of light enveloped her, filling the room with an inexplicable warmth. Whispers fizzled through her mind, speaking of hope yet to be realized. Days transformed into a blur of hospital visits, sterile scents, and hushed conversations. But Father William, their wise pastor, never wavered. Embrace the power of collective prayer, he urged her, as he gently clasped her shoulder. St. Jude, the patron of impossible causes, beckons you. Gathering her family, they formed a circle under her dim living room light, hands clasped and hearts clinging to faith. The first night felt stagnant, but by the second, as a flickering candle cast enchanting shadows, something began to shift. They prayed for a miracle with fervor, and snippets of positive energy danced around them, lifting the atmosphere like a morning breeze. Community vigils sprang up, whispers of healing stories echoed through the village, tales of good-natured strangers and miraculous recoveries prompted families to join their unwavering faith journey. But will it work for us? Mary's heart wrestled with uncertainty. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. On the 4th night, as the candle burned low, a sudden crash from the medical room pierced the hushed silence. Mary's heart dropped. Despair clawed at her. Would God abandon them now? Would he let the storm within her break apart the fragile threads of belief they had woven together? In a moment filled with desperation, she stumbled upon an ancient relic of St. Jude tucked away in the attic, a forgotten heirloom that had once belonged to her grandmother. Holding it close, she felt a surge of warmth flow through her. The village learned of her discovery, igniting their prayers into a fervor beyond reckoning. The 7th day arrived, and with it, a palpable aura of expectancy gathered in the air. Candles flickered in windows, and soft voices filled the village square, echoing fervent prayers into the night sky. Yet, as Mary stood at the precipice of hope, she felt the weight of an unseen choice press heavily upon her heart. Would the miracle come that day, or would the test deepen her understanding of faith? The dawn sparkled with endless possibilities, but a final twist lingered, leaving her questioning the very nature of divine purpose. What awaited her just beyond hope's horizon? Only time would tell. In the quiet space of dawn, Mary's heart fluttered with anticipation. The sun's golden rays streamed through the window, illuminating the relic she held tightly. St. Jude's image glimmered gently beneath the light. She closed her eyes, inhaling deeply, as the fragrance of hope filled her soul. Today felt different, she could sense something powerful on the horizon. Outside, the village bustled with excitement. Neighbors stopped by to share their own stories of faith, miraculous recoveries threaded through their experiences, each tale weaving a tighter net of hope around Mary. Grateful hearts encouraged her, their laughter and tears blending like warm summer rain. They amalgamated into a chorus of divine petitions, echoing across the fields, rising to the heavens. She felt them surrounding her, each one lending strength and light to her fragile belief. "Do not be afraid, Mary," whispered a voice soft yet firm. It flowed through her, mingling with her own thoughts. She opened her eyes and looked at the relic once more. St. Jude seemed to gleam with a kind of warm assurance. Her heart raced, a river of faith breaching the dam of fear that threatened to hold it back. Her family gathered with her once more, hands clasped around the old wooden table. Each face shone, faith marking their features like sun-kissed skin, glowing with the warmth of community. Father William spoke, his voice steady and suffused with calm conviction. Today we break chains. Today we lift Thomas's spirit together. With those words, the aura in the room shifted. It felt charged, almost buzzing with divine intent. They prayed fervently, hearts aligned, intentions clear. Each name of Thomas was lifted, riding the waves of healing chants like an offering. Mary could almost feel the pull of her own cries, each one reaching out like a lifeline to her son. As twilight fell, casting shadows across their gathering, doubt crept back into her heart. What if it's not enough? She thought. Yet, amidst this tumult, a warmth spread through her. She remembered the hope that had gripped her since the first night. Wasn't this all part of the journey, she mused. Her spirit wrestled, yet deep down, a faith-rooted awareness flickered, whispering that each step mattered. Mary rose and stepped outside, her eyes fixed on the brilliant sky where stroke after stroke of color melded into one another, much like the lives entwined within her heart. It reminded her of a tapestry, woven with care, every thread vital to the picture. Suddenly, an unexpected sound interrupted her reverie. A joyful shout rang through the air, drawing her attention. A group of children was racing towards her, faces alight like candles. "Mary! Mary! Come quickly!" They beckoned, laughter spilling joyfully from their lips. "What is it?" she asked with a breathless thrill, heart quickening at the sudden, unanticipated energy. "It's Thomas. You have to see!" they cried, excitement bubbling over as they dashed ahead, leading her away from doubt and despair. Would this be the moment she had been praying for? Would the cries of her heart converge upon the miracle she so fervently sought? She followed, spirit quickened, sensing the divine unfolding before her very eyes. Please, God, was this the movement of something greater? As the evening deepened, Mary found herself at the threshold of a new reality, one shimmering with possibilities. But what would lie beyond this moment? Would the healing stories adapt before the eyes of the watcher? Only the next unfolding would reveal what awaited. The children's laughter echoed like a melody as they pulled Mary along, their small hands gripping hers with a fervent urgency. Heart in her throat, she sprinted after them, each step illuminating the path of her hope. As they rushed through the narrow village streets, her surroundings blurred, filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the soft hum of life awakening around her. "Thomas is at the well!" one child yelled, breaking through the joyous chaos. "He's walking!" Her breath caught in her chest. Walking? Could it be true? Thomas, her sweet boy, who had been so frail, so dependent on others, had he taken a step? The pulse of faith surged within her, thumping like a drum, echoing celebration across her body. Clasping the image of St. Jude in her hand, she felt an energy radiate from the relic, a warmth spreading from her heart to the tips of her fingers. The well appeared ahead, its stones standing worn yet steadfast against the backdrop of the fading light. And there he was. Thomas stood, wobbly yet proud, clutching a faded blanket. His eyes sparkled brighter than the brightest star, laughter bubbling up like a fountain bursting forth, pure and uncontained. Two villagers stood nearby, one offering support while the other captured the moment with wide-eyed wonder. "Look, Mary! Look at him!" shouted another child, the excitement contagious. Mary darted closer, each heartbeat amplifying the anticipation in her soul. She gasped as she reached Thomas, the reality of his presence almost too stunning to comprehend. "My baby! Thomas!" she exclaimed, kneeling beside him. Tears brimmed in her eyes, pouring forth like the rainfall that nourished the earth. Her heart swelled with a mix of disbelief and gratitude. "Mommy!" Thomas beamed, stumbling forward a little. The villagers around them broke into applause, echoing her joy, and the scene transformed into a sacred space filled with collective belief. "Thank you, God. Thank you, St. Jude," Mary breathed, wrapping her arms around him. The prayers of the day unfolded in one precious moment. A divine recognition glimmered in the air, lifting burdens she hadn't even realized she carried. But a whisper stirred within her heart, prompting her to look deeply into Thomas's eyes. "Are you okay, my love? How do you feel?" she asked, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "I feel happy," he exclaimed, his laughter ringing like a chime in the stillness. "It's like I can run. I can jump." A murmur rippled through the gathering. Could such a miraculous change take root in the hearts of others? Mary felt her spirit rise. Hope was infectious, a fire igniting her community. How many lives could be touched by this moment? Yet, as joy enveloped them, another thought crept into her mind. What was this experience preparing her for? This healing was a gift, but it also demanded responsibility. A weight rested on her shoulders. What would be asked of her now? In that moment of celebration, she caught the gaze of Father William across the crowd, his eyes reflecting a knowing glow. His presence seemed to beckon her, urging her to rise to a greater calling, a mission yet to be unveiled. And just as a whisper in the stillness suggested deeper mysteries, a sudden gust of wind swept through, wrapping around her like a cosmic embrace. It rustled the leaves, stirred the warmth of the evening, and felt like the breath of the Holy Spirit, preparing her for what was yet to come. "What does this mean?" she pondered. "What more will God ask of me?" As the evening deepened, Mary sensed the shifting tides of her life. A doorway had opened, a divine invitation to step beyond her former path. What awaited her just beyond that threshold? The moment of decision loomed, a new journey on the horizon. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden hue across the village. Mary felt a sense of anticipation hang in the air, thick with the scent of possibility. The celebration around the well buzzed with the energy of renewed hope, voices intertwining like sweet hymns. "Did you see him?" one villager exclaimed, face alight with joy. "He was standing. He was standing." Every shout of excitement around her painted a tapestry of faith restored, each thread woven with trust and belief. The hearts of everyone gathered seemed to beat in rhythm, synchronized by the miracle they had witnessed. Yet even amidst this jubilation, a quiet urgency stirred within Mary. It wasn't just joy that filled her heart, it was a relentless questioning what lay ahead. What did God want from her now that he had bestowed such a gift? Her gaze moved from Thomas, joyfully laughing and playing with the other children, to Father William, who stood resolutely at the edge of the gathering. His presence was a solid rock, a spiritual anchor. She could see the wisdom in his eyes, a depth of understanding that transcended mere words. He nodded gently, his eyes urging her to approach. Taking a deep breath, she walked toward him, every step echoing with the weight of her new calling. As she reached him, the villagers parted, recognizing the sacred conversation unfolding. "Father, this is so wondrous, but what does it mean?" Mary asked, her voice trembling with curiosity and reverence. Father William smiled gently, a reminder of the grace that surrounds them all. "Miracles often come with purpose, Mary. Healing is not just about the body, it's about the soul, about our collective journey." His words resonated deep within her, like the tolling of a bell, clear and true. "What kind of journey?" she asked, her heart fluttering with both fear and excitement. "God may be calling you to heal others, to share the journey of faith and courage," he replied, his voice steady. "The more you give yourself to others, the more you unlock his grace. Thomas's healing is a beautiful sign, but it's only the beginning." Mary felt the truth of his words wrap around her like a warm blanket on a chilly evening. Could she be that beacon of light in their village? Was there more to her faith than just her prayers? As this understanding sank deep, a shimmer of light seemed to envelop the scene. Faint whispers danced with the breeze, swaying the branches gently as though the world itself was nodding in agreement. In that moment, she could feel God's presence urging her onward, even as doubt flickered at the edges of her mind. "I don't know how I feel so small," she confessed, her voice soft yet firm. "Even the smallest seed can grow into something magnificent, Mary," the Father replied, his voice a soothing balm. "Trust in the gifts you hold within. Each step forward is a step into His light." The children resumed their playful shouts, but Mary stood quietly absorbing Father William's message. The weight she sensed on her shoulders transformed into a mantle of purpose. She could feel the stirring of change, like a river flowing unseen just beneath the surface. As she looked back at Thomas, still radiant with joy, a new resolve bloomed inside her like the flowers of spring breaking through the frost. She realized this wasn't just a personal journey, this was a call to her community to nurture and uplift one another. Would it be enough to simply celebrate this miracle? Or could she find the courage to be a catalyst for even greater transformations? With hope ablaze in her heart, Mary turned her gaze towards the horizon. She sensed a pathway illuminated by faith, beckoning her to step boldly into unknown territories of divine purpose. What lay at the heart of this journey? The question hung in the air, potent and profound, as she felt a burgeoning excitement coalesce within her. Did God have even grander plans in mind? The unfolding mystery promised divine revelations just beyond the reached horizon of her understanding. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, Mary felt a shift in the air around her. The villagers continued to celebrate, but her heart throbbed with a deeper, more significant purpose. She knew that this was the moment for change, not only for herself but for everyone in her village. The warmth of love and faith radiated from the gathering, encouraging her to explore the depths of her calling. She glanced back at the scene, laughter harmonized with singing, and hands clasped together offered up prayers of gratitude. The joy was palpable, yet within her, an ache for understanding lingered. "Father," she said, breaking through the joyous noise. "What does it mean for me to heal others? How can I do this? I still feel so unworthy." Father William's gaze pierced through her uncertainty, and he said, "Remember, Mary, it is not you who heal but the Spirit within you. Yield to the grace that flows from God, allow His light to shine through your heart." His words hung in the air like a prayer, echoing softly in the corners of her mind. Surrendering to trust felt daunting, yet she sensed a stirring within, that gentle tug of the Spirit calling her forward. Could it be that she, a simple woman of the village, had the power to influence lives? "Start small," he urged, sensing her hesitation. "Reach out to those who are hurting, those who feel unseen. The gift of love does not require grand gestures, it flourishes in the everyday moments." Mary closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the world around her fade away. She imagined holding hands with a neighbor who had lost hope, soothing a mother's worried heart, listening to children with dreams that seemed too far-fetched. A warmth spread through her, a reminder that healing could come in many forms: kindness, understanding, compassion. As she opened her eyes, determination flickered to life within her. She would not let her fears keep her from embracing this divine gift. Love had transformed Thomas's life, and she could help instill that same hope in others. Standing taller, she felt a new courage blossom in her heart. "I want to do this, Father. I want to be a vessel of His grace." "Then go forth, Mary," he smiled, his eyes sparkling with reassurance. "Begin your journey by witnessing the miracles God works through you." As twilight deepened and stars began to dot the sky, Mary turned toward the village, her heart light and open. With each step, she felt a growing eagerness to connect with those around her, to lift their spirits with the gift of her faith. "Will you join me, dear Lord?" she whispered, feeling the pulse of longing and hope within her. "Show me the way to heal, to love, and to shine your light in this world." Just then, a child dashed past her, laughter trailing behind like a melody. She paused, watching the innocent joy that made her smile. The miracle of life, woven into the fabric of their community, whispered for her to be bold, to step forward. A tiny flicker of realization dawned on her. Each life mattered, each moment was a chance to share God's love. She could hear his gentle voice guiding her forward, beautifully orchestrating her purpose. But lingering doubt still tugged at her heart. Was she truly enough for this calling? With the stars shining brightly above, she couldn't shake the overwhelming sensation of divine mystery. What lessons awaited her in the days to come? What wonders were unfolding just beyond her grasp? The path ahead glimmered with uncertainty, yet her spirit soared with expectation. As the village hummed with joyous life, those questions illuminated her journey, foreshadowing a deeper awakening yet to unfold. Would she dare to walk into the unknown? The night embraced her, and Mary stepped forward, ready to explore the miraculous possibilities of faith that awaited her in the luminous dawn. With the dawn approaching, Mary felt a renewed sense of purpose surge through her veins like a rush of warm sunlight. The stars faded slowly but surely, giving way to the gentle glow of morning. She inhaled deeply, savoring the fresh scent of dew on the grass, a reminder that each day was a new beginning. Walking through the village, she noticed a familiar face. Mrs. Elliot sat on her porch, her eyes clouded with sadness. Mary's heart quickened. Perhaps this was her first opportunity to reach out, to be the light Father William spoke of. "Good morning, Mrs. Elliot," Mary called, her voice infused with cheer. The older woman looked up, surprise flickering in her tired eyes. "Mary, dear," Mrs. Elliot replied softly, "what brings you out so early?" "I just wanted to see how you're doing." Mary took a step closer, observing the lines etched on Mrs. Elliot's face, which chronicled untold tales of heartache and loss. She remembered the community support offered during times of hardship, and now that she was determined to heal, she could do something, anything. "Ah, you know," Mrs. Elliot sighed, brushing a hand across her forehead. "Things are not easy. It's been a long struggle since my husband passed. Some days, I don't know how to keep going." Mary felt a deep pang for her. "I understand. It can feel heavy, like a weight we carry alone." Mrs. Elliot nodded, tears glistening. "You're young, Mary. You have your whole life before you. You shouldn't waste your time worrying about old hearts like mine." "But you matter to me," Mary replied, her voice firm yet tender. "I want to help. Even if it's just to listen. Please, share with me what's on your heart. I'm here." A moment of silence enveloped them, an atmosphere thick with unspoken words. Mrs. Elliot's shoulders began to tremble, and Mary sensed the barrier of isolation break down gently. "Sometimes, I feel forgotten," Mrs. Elliot finally confessed. "People remember the good times, but they forget the sorrow that remains. It's hard to heal when no one acknowledges the pain." Moved by compassion, Mary took a seat beside her. "You don't need to feel that way. Here's what I've learned: healing starts in community. Let us share our hearts together." As they talked, Mary poured out her unwavering faith, her stories of hope, how God had transformed her life and helped others. Mrs. Elliot listened with growing curiosity, her spirit slowly lifting like the morning mist. "I wish I could feel that joy again," Mrs. Elliot whispered, a flicker of longing in her gaze. "You can. It begins here, with us remembering we are not alone." Mary smiled, feeling the presence of the Holy Spirit settle between them like a warm embrace. "Can we pray together?" Together, they closed their eyes, and Mary led the prayer. Words flowed like a river of grace, touching on heartbreaking sorrows, gentle healing, and renewed hope. When they opened their eyes, a spark of light lingered in Mrs. Elliot's expression, a sign that perhaps something had shifted. "Thank you, Mary," she said, her voice steadier now. "I didn't think I could be seen again. You've reminded me that life still holds beauty." Encouraged, Mary rose to her feet. "You are seen, Mrs. Elliot. And your journey matters. I will be here, as your friend, and together we will move forward." As she walked away, Mary's heart swelled. One encounter down. How many more awaited her? Stepping into the sunlight, she felt a heavenly whisper, a divine secret unfolding. But deep inside, an eagerness bloomed. Could she make a difference beyond the village? Were there others whose hearts needed to be healed, just like Mrs. Elliott's? With the world opening wide before her, the question lingered, what awaited her in the days to come as she embraced her newfound calling? Would she dare to venture further into the calling God had placed within her? With renewed determination, Mary wandered through the village, the morning light scattering joy across every path. Each step felt lighter, fueled by the connection made just moments earlier. There was a serenity in knowing she could extend her hand to others. What if Mrs. Elliott was just the beginning? Passing the village square, Mary spotted Mr. Thompson, sitting on a bench with his head bowed low. He was a quiet man, but Mary recalled the stories of how he once brought joy to the community through his vibrant Sunday sermons. Something about his posture tugged at her heart. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson," she called, her cheerful voice slicing through the stillness. He looked up, surprise flickering across his face, his eyes revealing a soul weighed down by despair. "Ah, Mary," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "Good to see you, my dear. Just enjoying the fresh air, or trying to, anyway. Can I join you?" Without waiting for an answer, Mary took a seat beside him, her heart open and ready to listen. It was clear that like Mrs. Elliott, Mr. Thompson was grappling with internal shadows. "I haven't been myself lately," he admitted, his words tumbling out like stones rolling down a hill. "The church, it just feels empty without the laughter and voices. I fear my faith is dwindling." Mary felt a stirring in her spirit. "You're not alone, Mr. Thompson. Faith can feel heavy sometimes. But I've learned that when we share our burdens, they become lighter." He shook his head slowly. "But it has been hard to see God's light, especially after all that has happened. I thought my words could revive the spirit of the church. But without conviction they fall flat." Mary considered his words, reflecting on her own journey. "What if I told you that your struggle could become your testimony? That God can take our brokenness and turn it into something beautiful?" His weary gaze met hers, a flicker of curiosity igniting. "And how can I hold on to that kind of hope?" "It starts with connection. Let us pray." Closing their eyes, Mary led the way, her words infused with passion and purpose. She prayed for renewal, for the rekindling of Mr. Thompson's spirit, and for the reawakening of the church's joyfulness. A warmth enveloped them, and in that sacred space, Mary sensed the invisible chains lifting. When they opened their eyes, she could see a spark ignite within him. "Thank you, Mary. You've given me a glimpse of hope I thought was lost." "I can already feel it," he said, a soft smile breaking through the cloud of sorrow. "I believe that God has great plans for both of us. And it starts right here," Mary said, feeling the Holy Spirit thrumming between them. "We can inspire one another and the community. Each of us has a part to play." As she stood to leave, Mr. Thompson grasped her hand, sincere gratitude shimmering in his eyes. "I'm grateful, Mary. You remind me of the importance of reaching out, embracing our purpose. Let us not stop here." Mary felt the weight of his words, a divine calling resonating deep within her. She had ventured further into her mission, and it was beginning to burn brighter. With the sun illuminating her path, she thought of all the lives left to touch. What awaited her next? What challenges might arise as she navigated deeper into her calling? The echo of conviction resonated in her heart. There was still much to do, many souls to reach. Would she be strong enough to guide them toward healing? Mary took a deep breath, inhaling the crisp morning air choked with infinite possibilities. She felt as if the world had opened its arms wide, eager to embrace the change she was beginning to champion. Her heart raced with anticipation. Where would she go next? A soft yet insistent urge directed her to the Edgewood Care Home just beyond the village. There lived many souls craving connection and comfort. As she approached the care home, the sun dappled the pathway, casting playful shadows. Mary noticed the vibrant flowers lining the fence, their colors practically singing with life. Their beauty reminded her of the spirit resting within everyone, no matter how forgotten they felt. Stepping inside, a familiar scent of lavender wafted towards her, evoking memories of serene moments spent in prayer. The care home buzzed with gentle activity, nurses tending to residents, and laughter ringing like sweet chimes. Yet, within the laughter, she sensed hints of sadness, the kind that nestled deep within a person's heart, longing for healing. Mary's footsteps echoed softly down the hallway, and she felt a nudge to visit Mrs. Anderson, an elderly woman known for her fiery spirit. It was said that as long as Mrs. Anderson could share her stories and laughter, joy would abound. Knocking lightly, Mary entered and found Mrs. Anderson sitting in her chair, her frail frame wrapped in a knitted shawl. The room was adorned with photographs of loved ones, their smiles reflecting a lifetime of memories. But today, Mrs. Anderson's eyes appeared clouded, her smile dimmed. "Mary! What a lovely surprise!" she exclaimed, her voice warm but faint. "Hello, Mrs. Anderson. I came to check on you. How have you been?" Mary asked, taking a seat near the elderly woman. "Oh, child, some days are better than others," Mrs. Anderson replied, her eyes glistening. "Life has been a bit heavy lately. I find myself missing my dear friends more than I'd like to admit." Mary's heart ached. "I understand. It's tough when memories cling tightly, isn't it? But you know, even in our deepest sadness, there's always a glimmer of hope. May I share a prayer with you?" Mrs. Anderson nodded, her thumb resting on a delicate locket that hung from her neck. As Mary held her hand, she closed her eyes, pouring her spirit into the words. She prayed for strength, for joyful memories to flood Mrs. Anderson's heart with light, and for companionship in her moments of sorrow. With each word, a warmth enveloped the room, like a soft embrace from the divine. When they opened their eyes, the transformation was evident. A renewed light sparked in Mrs. Anderson's eyes, and her lips curved into a smile that spoke volumes. "Thank you, Mary. I feel lighter somehow. Your presence is a gift." "But it's your spirit shining, too," Mary replied, humbled. "You've experienced love that runs deep, Mrs. Anderson. You can pass that warmth to those around you. Sharing your joy has a ripple effect on others." Mrs. Anderson chuckled lightly. "Ah, you are wise beyond your years. Perhaps, I will start writing my stories again. That might just bring back some of the laughter." Mary beamed, her heart swelling with happiness. "Yes. Your stories are precious, and they can bring healing to many." As she stood to leave, a quiet sense of fulfillment washed over her. She was beginning to see the undeniable truth that even small acts of love could kindle greater change. Yet amid all the hopeful feelings, a flicker of doubt tugged at her heart. What if she couldn't reach everyone? There were still so many souls wandering in the shadows. The question lingered in the air. What if even the slightest breath of connection could create a wave of renewal? Mary's spirit thrummed with an urgency that beckoned her toward the unknown. As she stepped back into the world, a specialized mission began to unfurl in her mind. Would she have the courage to reach out to someone whose wounds were much deeper? What challenges awaited her next? As Mary stepped back into the sunlight, the vibrant day welcomed her like an old friend. She felt the warmth wrap around her and the breeze brushed against her cheek, whispering encouragement. The morning was inviting, exhilarating, but her heart pulsed with determination. She recalled the flicker of hope ignited in Mrs. Anderson and let that thought carry her forward. Turning her gaze toward the village, Mary pondered. Who would she seek out next? She felt called to venture deeper, to find someone whose heartache was hidden in shadows that only a compassionate soul could illuminate. The uncertainty quickened her step, pulling her toward the park, an open space where people gathered, yet often remained alone. As she approached the park, she could see the familiar figures: fathers tossing balls, children laughing, and elderly couples feeding the ducks. Yet among this lively tapestry, Mary spotted a woman sitting on a bench, staring into the distance, as if lost in a fog. Her posture sagged, and a heavy pallor gripped her features. Mary's heart ached at the sight. Compelled by a divine nudge, Mary took a deep breath and walked up to the bench. "Hello there. Mind if I join you?" she offered, her voice warm and inviting. The woman turned slightly, her eyes reflecting a world of weariness. "I suppose so," she replied, a note of resignation in her voice. "I'm Mary. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" she said, trying to draw the woman out. "Yeah, I suppose," the woman sighed, her gaze still fixed beyond the horizon. "I used to love days like this. Now they just remind me of what I've lost." Mary felt a pang of empathy. "What's your name?" "Ella," she mumbled, barely looking up. "Ella, it sounds beautiful. I sense so much weight on your heart. Would you like to talk about it?" Ella hesitated, her lips trembling slightly before she finally replied, "Why would you care? I'm just a shadow, no one pays attention." "Sometimes, it only takes one person to see you," Mary responded gently. "And I see you, a soul with a story, a heart that deserves to be heard. I believe what you've been through matters." As Ella looked at Mary, her defenses began to crack. "I lost my daughter in a car accident," she confessed, the words spilling from her lips, saturated with anguish. "It feels like my heart's been torn out, and I can't find my way back." Mary's heart ached deeply as she listened. She understood the profound pain of loss, the dark corners it can pull someone into. "I cannot grasp your pain, but I know that healing begins with sharing. Can I pray for you, Ella?" Ella blinked, surprise flickering across her face. "You want to pray for me? Just like that?" "Just like that," Mary affirmed with a soft smile. "Sometimes, it's in letting go that we begin to heal." Ella hesitated, but the sincerity in Mary's eyes softened her resolve. "Okay," she whispered, tears shimmering at the corners. Mary reached for Ella's hands, feeling the coolness of her skin. As she closed her eyes, she poured out a prayer for comfort and divine peace, that God would wrap Ella in his arms and ease the unbearable weight of grief. In that moment, Mary felt an electricity, not just an act of praying, but a connection deeper than words. When they opened their eyes, Ella's gaze flickered with a hint of light amidst her shadows. Mary noticed it instantly, a glimmer of hope breaking through. "Thank you. I haven't felt this way in a long time," Ella whispered, her voice tremulous. Mary's spirit soared. In her heart, she felt a whisper, a promise. Discovering God's love can turn shadows into light. But just then, a familiar voice echoed behind her. It was someone she hadn't expected to see at that moment, and with it came a rush of questions. "Mary, what are you doing here?" The voice cut through the air, and a mix of emotions swirled within Mary. Who could it be, and how would this stranger change the course of her mission? As Mary turned to see the familiar figure of Father William approaching, she felt a rush of warmth fill her. His presence was always comforting, like the steady glow of a guiding light. "I was just having a moment with Ella," she said, glancing at the woman beside her who was processing the emotions swirling around them. "Ella, dear," Father William began gently, "Mary is a beacon of hope, and I could see that in her from the moment we met." He turned to Mary, a proud smile forming on his lips. "I'm grateful you're here, spreading the light of God's love." Tears brimmed in Ella's eyes, and she reached out. "I didn't think anyone could understand my pain," she whispered. "But Mary, I only want you to know that you are seen." "Ella," Mary interjected, her voice soothing like a gentle breeze. "You're not alone in this journey." Overwhelmed by emotion, Ella found herself nodding. "Thank you." For a moment, I felt like I could breathe again. "It's been so heavy." Her voice trailed off as a tear rolled down her cheek. Father William knelt beside them, enveloping the quiet space with his deep compassion. And that's exactly what faith is about, bringing burdens to the table and sharing them in community. Your story has not only touched your own heart, but it can touch others as well. Mary felt a divine warmth wrap around them, and a new understanding ignited within her. She could picture the faces of others needing to hear about Ella's strength and pain. Together they could create ripples that reached far beyond their village. In that moment of stillness, Mary's heart swelled with purpose. Ella, your journey can inspire others. Would you be open to sharing your story? Together, we can bring healing to more people than we can imagine. Ella's eyes widened slightly, uncertainty flickering across her face. Me? Share my pain? Yes. Father William affirmed, his voice laced with encouragement. Your experience matters, and it can spark hope in countless souls. You would be surprised how sharing the depths of our struggles can start a movement of healing in others. Mary took Ella's hands gently, intertwining their fingers. You don't have to do it alone. I'll be with you every step of the way. Suddenly, a surge of light enveloped them, flickering like candles catching wind. Mary could sense the breath of the Spirit hovering all around, a divine reminder of their collective mission. Ella's walls began to crack, and a spark of courage ignited. I've been afraid that my grief would scare others away. But perhaps it can also offer them a lifeline. Yes. Exactly. Mary's voice trembled with excitement. Your story can remind others that they are not alone. They can find strength in vulnerability. And in that moment, Ella began to transform. The spark Mary had seen deep inside her began to bloom, overflowing with a flicker of something new. All right, Ella said, her voice stronger. I'll do it. I'll share my story. Father William nodded proudly, tears glimmering in his kind eyes. That's the beginning of something beautiful. God is working through you. As the three of them sat there on that bench, the sun climbed higher in the blue sky, casting a heavenly glow around them. They prayed together again, not just for healing, but for the courage to advocate for those hidden in the shadows of pain. Mary felt a profound joy welling up within her, as if a floodgate had opened. This was what she was meant to do. The energy around them pulsed vibrantly, each heartbeat syncing up with the beats of the universe. Mary looked at Father William and Ella, and she knew their paths had intertwined for greater reasons. God was building a foundation for change through their collective strength. Days passed, and the three began to rally the folks of Willowbrook. Together, they set up gatherings in the village square to encourage others to share their stories. Villagers flocked each week, filling the air with laughter, tears, and moments of cathartic grace. Mary not only led prayers but also created a space for testimonials, a tapestry of faith woven from heartaches and healing. Each story shared echoed like a drum, creating harmony thereby. Ella discovered a newfound purpose, joining Mary in comforting others struggling as she once did. People were coming together, realizing that each pain could birth hope and transformation. But it was during one of these gatherings, hands clasped in faith, that Mary realized just how intertwined their lives had become. In the heart of their village, hope had regained its bright glow. As the sun set softly, painted hues of orange and lavender illuminated the faces gathered. Mary's heart swelled, calming her uncertainties and fears. The journey had transformed from one of desperation to one of invitation. She could feel God's presence flowing through her, an ever-present spirit urging her onward. Mary turned to Father William, and in that gaze, they exchanged an understanding that transcended words. They had become living testaments of healing and hope. She thought back to the beginning of her journey, where desperation had almost swallowed her whole. But now she felt alive. What began as a small flicker in the dark had ramped up to a roaring fire of collective hope, a revival of the spirit of Willowbrook. With each soul uplifted, they not only healed themselves but enriched the very fabric of their community. In that twilight moment, Mary closed her eyes and gave thanks, the wind cradling her whisper, "Thank you, God, for my family, for my village, for hope. Thank you for setting us free. As she opened her eyes, she looked at the vibrant faces glowing all around her, and in those moments, she truly knew the journey was just beginning now. Dear friend, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this message of hope. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this beautiful ending, they could inspire someone else. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of God's love. Don't wait even one more second. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting our mission through these actions. Let us carry this light together.